Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've been quiet for the last couple of weeks, so I apologize for that. I wanted to say thank you so much to all of the new subscribers to the channel and all the really sweet and awesome comments I've been getting from people from all over the world. If someone that is looking at bigger channels than mine, they might laugh at that, but the several comments that I've gotten have been just kind of very encouraging, and I just want to say thank you so much. So it means a lot to me. Today I want to talk about this idea of a digital declutter. And I learned of this concept from Newport. He wrote a book called Digital Minimalism, which was released in 2017. And I'll link it in the description below. Recently, I made some life changes that I accidentally did a lot of similar things that he teaches in his book, but I also did some things off of what he teaches in his book, and I can acknowledge kind of where I missed it, right? And what I did wrong. So I wanted to kind of make this video to talk about the digital declutter, what it is, how you can implement it. Some of you might know, but I completely removed myself from social media with the exception of this channel here, and then my website, which is just my name, owenpye.com. Some of you out there have never had social media and you're like, whatever, Owen, big deal. And then some of you just haven't engaged with it. Social media for me has been a big part of my life. This kind of give you a background on me and where I got started. And I'm a millennial, and I grew up in a home with dial-up internet device in a room of the house, and you'd have to connect and get online. And it made that awful sound. I'll play it here. Play that awful sound, and then you get to connect to the internet. It was so slow, way slower than the Edge network or 2G or 3G, way slower than all that stuff. And if anyone called your home while you're on the internet, it would kick you off. Some of you will never, ever know of that just tragedy, which was dial-up internet. It was terrible. But anyways, I eventually, when I was 14, is when I had my own computer in my room, connected to the internet 24/7. That was at 14. So some of you watching this are like, dude, I've had a phone since I was 5, and that's awesome. Good on you. And so for me at 14, I started using it. And to be honest with you, I'm a father now of 4. There are things that I encountered on the internet, experiences I had that were not healthy, were not good. And I think all of us out there, especially millennials, can kind of identify with that. And I know that not everyone understands those pitfalls, as it were. Like, for instance, my parents' generation, these were the folks that were handing their cell phone to little kids at just whenever, right? It's just no one thought anything of it. But now we're concerned about screen time, and we're kind of a little bit better with tech as a society, in the sense that we see the dangers of it, but more on that later. So I grew up 14, got my own computer, started using the internet, and then what I did is I started playing music about this time. And so at the time, MySpace was the thing. MySpace was kickin' chicken. But I used MySpace to help book shows and play music and tour the country. I met so many awesome folks on there, so great, people I love and miss to this day. Everyone got a Facebook account eventually, and then Twitter, actually no, then Instagram, then Twitter. You know, I lived in that world. That's what I did. A lot of, I would say, the jobs I've gotten have come from that. I worked in a lot of gigs in the sense of playing music, and then also freelance gigs. And so I've used this tool for years and years. So I see the value of social media. Don't get me wrong, but I guess I'm making the case for how this was a heavy decision for me to make. So I decided to leave social media. But before that, actually, I started using a dumb phone. And if you guys have watched any of my videos recently, you know about this and talked about my experience with it and the benefits with it. And actually, I'm now using the light phone, which I did a video about a little while ago. If you don't know anything about the light phone, it's a great tool. So my experience with digital minimalism was a little bit out of order. Not that there's a right order, but according to Newport's book, kind of the way he does his digital detox, or recommends the digital detox, I kind of did things out of sync. So enough about me. Let's talk about the digital detox, what it is, why it is, who it's for, and maybe why you should consider it. And you can read his book below. Again, I'll link it in the description. It's a great read and kind of delve deeper in all of this. But the digital declutter is a 30-day period where you remove all optional technology from your daily routine. So you have to set these rules on your own. You can't go off of someone else's thing because everyone's life is different, right? You might have a situation where you have to communicate with a loved one every day at 3 o'clock to coordinate a carpool or something. So you have to have a certain, maybe Marco Polo or Telegram on your phone. So you might have to keep those kinds of apps on your phone. But for 30 days, as best as possible, remove all of social media apps from your phone completely. Any optional text. So if you can take off your web browser, email, all these things, the purpose of it is to put your phone as far away from you as possible in settings that you can, right? So if you're going into the store to buy groceries, maybe you make a paper list of your groceries and you leave your phone in the glove box. It's just an example. Or if you can safely do this, and I know not everyone can, if you could go for a walk for 30 minutes in the evening or in the morning or whatever when it's nice out, leave your phone at home. Or if you have to bring it for an emergency or safety reasons, maybe put it in like the bottom of your backpack and just bring it with you, but it's out of sight, out of mind. And the reasoning for this is that we have in our society now so little solitude. And solitude is an idea of being able to be alone in your thoughts, but regardless of how many people are around you, right? So the ability to sit in a crowded room and go, I can kind of remove myself from this mentally and kind of sit here, plant myself in this coffee shop and just be alone in my thoughts. The contrast of that, you could be in the wilderness by yourself and have earbuds in listening to a podcast. That's not solitude because you are engaging with other voices in that situation. You're having other minds speak to you, right? So you're engaging different parts of your brain that you wouldn't normally be to have good solitude. So the idea of getting rid of this digital stuff is to have more solitude, right? It's to be more engaged with your thoughts. So that comes into the second part of this digital declutter. Removing all optional technology or digital engagement, but then you have to balance that with what analog activities am I going to get more involved in? And really, what things do I value most? What is the life that I want to live? So you have to ask yourself that question and really wrestle with it, because if you don't do that, if you just go, I'm just going to get rid of my phone and detox or whatever, that won't work. It's like going on a crash diet, because eventually you're going to go right back to maybe not the phone, but you're going to go to do something else that's not healthy. Maybe it's scrolling through news sites on your computer or binge watching Netflix. These aren't healthy alternatives to being on social media. They might be one step better, but like it's still just as unhelpful. So you have to go in that 30 days, you have to put in the time and the mental effort of saying, what do I value most in this life? And then pursuing those activities and getting involved with analog activities, so non-digital analog activities, and favorably ones that involve you engaging with other people face to face, if at all possible. I know masks, this is face to face nowadays, but face to face. And then also preferring audible or visual and audible communication over digital, right? So the 30 days is up, and then you start to slowly reintroduce the things you enjoy back into your life. You say, but you weigh it against, does this help me get to the goal I'm working towards? Does this help me live the life that I want? So when you reconnect on Twitter, you go, all right, is this the best way to do XYZ in my life? And that really kind of hammers home the point of minimalism in general, because we've all heard of minimalism in the real world, the non-digital world, where it's basically, it's not about getting rid of everything. It's about finding the things that truly matter to you and giving those things the airtime that they deserve. Bob Goff, one of my favorite authors, he wrote a book called Love Does. This is what it says. I used to be afraid of failing at something that really mattered to me, but now I'm more afraid of succeeding at the things that don't matter. And I think that that sums up the reasoning for digital declutter for me, and the reason I've removed social media, I've deleted all of my accounts, I can't go back, is simply that, going, I don't want to be like an amazing Instagram influencer, because that's not a goal for me. I don't want to be amass a bunch of Twitter followers and try to entertain them every day 10 times, because that's just not, that doesn't matter most to me right now. So that's a lot, right? There's a lot there. Read the book, Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. I'll link it below. Consider doing the digital declutter for 30 days, but don't do half of it. Don't just ignore your phone. You have to also pour into these analog activities. Learn new skills. Learn how to do something with your hands that you didn't know how to do. And then you reintroduce technology that basically reinforms the analog activities, right? So you use the digital tools to help amplify your analog life, right? So that's a lot. I know it was a lot. I rambled a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you. I'll see you next time.